Matt, the floor is yours. Take us through the story. Tell us what happened that week.
You know, man, I've had a handful of kidney stones before. I had 3 kidney stones before. And so it's just, they never lasted long. I went to the doctor after a couple hours, the first one I ever had, because I didn't know the pain. I didn't know what it was. And then the second time, I gutted it out, but at the tail end, I went to the doctor. And then the third one, I passed on my own. It was on Thanksgiving, and I passed it on my own. And then this one here, like on Friday, I started to pass this stone, and I was like, "Damn!" I know.
Hold on. Forgive my ignorance. When you say pass the stone, can you elaborate? What do you mean pass the stone? I literally know nothing about kidney stones.
So I hope you never do, Michael. I hope you never know anything about it. Dude. Like it's some form of deficiency in the way my body breaks down some form of food or liquid or supplement or anything, whatever else. I have no clue of what was formed. But I started feeling this. It's a pressure, and the thing is, it's not painful. It's pressure, and the pressure is miserable.
Right.
And it was just,
and you feel this in your kidney area. Sorry if I'm asking dumb questions. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I literally know nothing about it, Matt. That's the only reason I'm asking.
No problem, man. I'm a talker, so no, we'll get through it.
Sure.
I felt this one when it first started. I felt it like, that sad muscle on the inside of your abs when you're really lean. That one that runs down to your junk. I started feeling it down there, and I was like, man, that's a really weird feeling. Like, it doesn't feel like a stone because it's in the wrong spot. Well, then about an hour and a half later, maybe 2 hours later, my time frame could be mildly skewed because I was distracted. But it was, then I started feeling it in my kidney again. And I felt it on the back side of my kidney. And then about, a little while later, I started feeling it on both sides, like the front and the back and I would just take my fingers and dig in, like right underneath my rib cage and be like, God, like just trying to get some kind of pressure on it. And I was like, dude, I'm full-fledged passing the stone right now. I was like, this thing sucks. But it's only going to be a certain amount of time. Like it'll be 2 hours, just grind it out. Like, and I'm in doggy style position, like face down, butt up, like rocking on the bed, being like, telling my trainer partner, like, oh my God, this is miserable, like, kind of situation. And dude, there's nothing anybody can do about it. And I'm like pacing in my room, and it was just agonizing, man. It was just brutal. And I couldn't take any drugs for it. I couldn't do anything about it because if I failed a drug test, so I can't do anything for it.
Of course.
And obviously, as well as I do, like, dude, you busted your ass for the last, 8-10 weeks. I'm not going to let something like this interfere and stop me from getting A, my payday, and B, competing against the greatest heavyweight of all time. Like, this is my chance to steal his legacy and be in the record books. So I'm doing everything I possibly can to make this thing happen, and it came on at the worst possible experience or time. And so, like I tell him, hey, man, I'm in some pain here, but just don't. I don't really want to do anything for the rest of the day. But then we had to go to I forgot because I was in pain, and I forgot we had to go to weigh-ins. So I had to go to weigh-ins, and I'm freaking dying here. And I'm like, it was so uncomfortable, but I had to put a straight face on and make it look like my body felt good, because obviously that's a sign of weakness to anybody else. And you guys would pick up on it as far as the media.
No, but would they pull you from the fight if you admitted that you were having kidney stone issues and you were in physical pain? Would the doctor say, you can't compete? I don't really know the way that works.
Probably.
I don't know, but I wasn't going to take a chance on that. I'm not, I'm going to pipe down. I'm not going to say anything about it. That's my job. And on top of that, like, I understand that this is Bellator's biggest card of all they've ever put on. They put $1 gazillion putting in the marketing, and the attention, how hard this thing was tracking was incredible, especially for Bellator. So I don't want to ruin their day. And on top of that, like, I respect Fedor. I don't want to be in a situation in which Fedor's like, look, dude, this dude just bailed out. Like, what the hell is that? Like, I'd rather go through adversity and make this thing happen versus being like, I felt a little bit of pain, so I bailed out, and hey, buddy, would you fight me again sooner or later? I try to do it out of respect for everybody involved, plus the fans, plus the people that bought tickets to fly there, right, and paid for hotels and everything else, because that's such a major event. And really had all that weight on me, so I really tried to do as much as I possibly could. Then Saturday morning came around, and they're like, hey, man, have you peed it out yet? I'm like, dude, I haven't even peed. Like, I've been flushing everything I possibly can, like Gatorades and waters and red wine, apple cider vinegar and cranberry juice. And I'm bloated. I've drank so much, but I can't freaking pee. And then the morning when they woke up, or when I woke up and they hit me up, I told them that. They're like, okay, we're going to the hospital. So then went to the hospital, and they stacked me up with a double IV, one in each arm, and they're running more fluids in me. And they're like, okay, we need you to pee. I got 4 ounces out, 4 ounces. And they're like, they tested, they said there's some blood in your urine. We got a CAT scan, give me a CAT scan, said you haven't passed the stone, it's too big to pass, your ureter is blocked or whatever. Dude, you're not fighting. And that's when, once they found all that out, Mr. Coker was like, hey dude, like we respect the fact you tried to grind this thing out, but it's out of your hands now, it's over. And they called the fight. And then so then they gave me Flomax, but because I'm an idiot, I forgot to get it filled, and I finally got it Flomax about 7 hours later. And then I finally started peeing, and I passed it about 3 P's later.
Yeah, and by the way, I just sent Mike a picture of a kidney stone. Mike, so you have to piss them out. They have to come out your urethra.
Oh, so it comes out the end of your penis.
Yeah, it comes out your pee hole. You fire that thing out like a bullet.
Oh, really? I thought it was. I mean, as I said, I don't know. I thought it came out your backside when you said passing. That comes out the end of your pee-pee. Holy crap!
Yeah,
that must be painful.
Hey, dude, it was so painful, dude. Like, it's hard to even understand what.
Man, I'm looking at it now. It looks like some kind of shellfish, like some kind of, I don't know.
It's like a bird. It's like a bird.
It looks like
really sore. Clothes and you walk to the woods.
It came from like the planet that Superman comes from. Like, you shot it out your dick.
Yeah, really, dude. So then check this out. So then, just like, and obviously Bellator was pissed, right? They're disappointed. They're bothered by what happened, and I can't blame them for that. And so I'm like, look, as a sign of good faith. So when we got the CAT scan, they said it looks like you have 6 or 7 other stones in your right kidney.
Wow.
You have none in your left. So as a sign of good faith to them, hey, look, we booked this fight. Tell Fedor I'm doing this. Like, I want this fight this badly that I'm going to go in. I don't have health insurance. I'm going to pay for this out of pocket and get this thing done. Like, I'll go have them go in through my pee hole, pull these stones out that they expect to find, and then let's get this thing rebooked as soon as possible. Let's go for March 31st in Chicago. Let's run it right back.
The Countdown with Michael Bisping and Luis J. Gomez. Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Line has been in the 5 headlines seemingly every week, and it's the lightweight pitcher. What is happening at 155 pounds? We talk about it all the time. The latest here is that we still don't know exactly what's happening with Khabib Nurmagomedov. I've spoken to his manager. There's been some reports out of Russia. According to his manager, he has not yet seen a specialist. He intends to travel to Germany and get this thing checked out. You know, the liver issue, the bad weight cut that prevented him from fighting at UFC 209. Meanwhile, Tony Ferguson went on the MMA Hour this week on MMA fighting. Kind of called out Nate Diaz, kind of said he's still interested in Khabib. Michael Chiesa is out there asking for that fight. Tony Ferguson only wants an interim title fight or a real title fight. I mean, I think what he would really want is a fight against Conor McGregor for the real lightweight championship, but that's not happening. So he's looking around trying to figure out what his best option is. Nate Diaz is still turning down fights. I think if Ferguson is going to talk Diaz into fighting him, he's got to be real loud, and he's got to start promoting this thing in a big, big way, because that's how Nate Diaz is at this point in his career. You got to get his interest. You've got to promote the fight yourself, and then you can get his name attached to it. I don't know. I wrote a column last week saying that I still thought at the end of the day Khabib fighting Ferguson would happen, but it's just so hard to predict because we don't know what's going on with Nurmagomedov's health. Phil, I guess, your general thoughts. What do you think's happening here at the lightweight division?
It's 4 cars trying to get in one spot. Everyone wants Conor McGregor, and like we said off the top of the show, we don't know what's next for Conor. So that leaves, okay, let's just keep going down the rankings. I don't have them in front of me, but up towards the top, it's Tony Ferguson, it's Khabib Nurmagomedov, it's Edson Barbosa. RDA is on his way to welterweight. Take him out. Michael Chiesa was scheduled to fight Tony Ferguson, I think on that South Dakota card before he pulled out with that back injury. He wants a Ferguson fight again. I mean, Brett, my opinion is the same as yours on this. I know it's dissent makes good radio, but it's it seems like the most obvious choice is, okay, let's just try it for the fourth time now. Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Give the fans what they want. That will be a compelling fight between two guys with a lot of personality, a lot of guys who are more than comfortable on the mic, more than comfortable promoting fights. But then you look at a guy like Edson Barboza on his way up. It's a nice problem to have. And the UFC, the lightweight division, has always been one of its deeper classes. Reed Kuhn talks about in his book, Fightnomics, that just, the size of the average human, you're going to have the biggest pool of people in the lightweight division. Guys who naturally are 5'8 to 5'11, walk around about 170 to 175 pounds, and would cut to 155. That's in the bell curve of human physique. That's where you're going to get the most people. So it's no surprise you have the deepest class there. It is a good problem for the UFC to have, though, to have multiple guys at the top who can promote fights, draw eyes, who can either add depth to a good pay-per-view card right behind a title fight, or headline a fight on one of these Fox cards or FS1 cards that seem to be, in the new era of WME, as they've taken over, have seemed to be a greater priority. You see some of the depth coming up, like on that Fox card in Kansas City, and they're not silly. They know that TV rights are coming up in the not-too-distant future, so it wouldn't hurt them to get some good ratings outside of pay-per-views. You have guys who can headline fights and different matchmaking there, but the problem is anytime you make one move, then the other dominoes have to fall a certain way. And as long as there's this big question mark over Conor McGregor's return, whether or not he will fight in the octagon in 2017 or in the ring, it's hard to have. His domino is bigger than any of the other ones. So they're trying to almost figure out the ripple effect before they figure out the first big play. We're gonna know soon. Ferguson, he could announce a fight any day now, and not saying that he is going to, but he made weight and then, okay, well, I'm not fighting. So he can fight whenever. But the problem is, who do you put him against? And then how else does that affect the rest of the division? Ultimately, again, it's the consequence will be mitigated because you have enough options there and enough depth that invariably when these guys face each other, someone's going to lose. But then you have other pieces in play to fill in if the matchmaking is done properly. I think more in like the 5 to 10 area of the top 10.
Yeah, we need some dominoes to fall before we can find out exactly what's going to happen in this situation. I think the first one is Khabib's health. Is he able to go before he has to take that break for Ramadan? It's a Muslim observance period. It's a fasting period, which will essentially eliminate him from competition, I guess, from June and really July. He'd be looking at coming back potentially in August because of that. So can he fit in a fight with Tony Ferguson beforehand once we get a clear answer on that? No, it's not going to happen. Then I think you're going to see Tony Ferguson say, okay, well, who am I going to fight then? And it's going to become clear who his first pick is, I believe. Tony is a guy who's going to be hard to predict. He doesn't necessarily love to do media, so I'm not sure how he's going to get his message out there. But he's going to get his message clearly to the UFC that says, all right, look, give me a fight and give me an interim title fight. Here's probably my first choice, but really, as far as opponent goes, but really all I want is that fight soon, and I want it for an interim title or an official title. But that first domino of Khabib's health has to fall in place. So unfortunately, it would not surprise me if next week we're still looking back at this lightweight picture and not knowing